Now I would like to share one of my favorite stories of my own manifestations. I always wanted to be a DJ, and through some of the practice of some of this stuff, I finally became a DJ in my early mid-30s, and I got a residency at a club, restaurant, lounge. So on a Wednesday night, I'm doing my set, and I see these two faces walk in that were really familiar to me, right? And there was a couple who had left Atlanta like several years earlier to go study acting, to further their education in acting over in Europe. So the brother, Sa, is who I recognized. We realized we had the same birthday. We became fast friends. And during this time, he was telling me about what he had done over in Amsterdam. While he was there, he did this huge production that was basically citywide, and it made such a large noise in Europe that once he left, he kept getting called back to do speaking engagements and do some small performances of the show. So one day he rolls up on me like, yo, I just got called to a little college town in Switzerland called Lund. And they want me to do a talk and to do some of my show. But since my show has like 30 people, we don't have the money for all of that. I'm wondering if you'll be my DJ and, my band. So, as you can imagine, a person who always wanted to be a DJ, one of my other, bucket list items was to DJ event overseas. Now my friend has presented something for me, so I'm like, hell yeah. And I didn't mention that this is all expenses paid and I'm getting a check. So, I was geeked. So say this happened on the weekend. By Sunday, tragedy strikes. Big test comes in that my computer crashes. Completely destroyed. The motherboard is fried. And in this digital age, I'm not carrying crates. All my crates are on my laptop. So I'm like, oh shit, what am I gonna do? My homie is like, yeah man, we kind of need that because that's a part of the show, obviously. So I was about to go into a dark place and get nervous, but the truth is that I had already been starting to exercise this stuff. This is like 2008, so I've been on that secret shit, and for like the past 2 years. So I'm like, you know what? The God that I serve wouldn't bring me all these things I've been asking for and then yank it away from me at the last minute. This is obviously a test, and because I sincerely believe in how this stuff works, I'm just going to be faithful. This is going down. So boom, as my friend and his wife were witnesses, I went in, I made calls, I tried to find used computers, I tried to clone my shit, I tried to put my information on his laptop and see if that would work. Everything you can imagine short of calling my family and asking for money, because that's something I didn't do, especially my mom. God bless her, but my mom is quick to say no before she says yes to anything, and I just I didn't want to invite anything that I would consider negative energy. I was trying to be positive in this moment. But as the days were ticking by, like things were getting a little bit more and more shaky. So eventually, the Friday is when we're leaving and that day is quickly approaching. And what I realized was, you know what? I need to create a scenario of the wish fulfilled. And we'll talk about this more. But in order to really do, have, and be whatever you want to do, have, and be, you have to think from the end. You have to think from the person who already has that wish fulfilled. So what I did was I imagined myself sitting on a plane in Hartsfield Airport in Atlanta next to my man Sa, listening to headphones on my new laptop, listening to a beat that I just created. That was a scenario that I had in my mind. So I did this. I went to sleep in that. Throughout the day I would try to imagine that thing as much as possible, but from the place of having it, giving it feeling tones of reality, right? So now it's Thursday and we're getting on a plane the next day, so I'm like, but I can't stop to think that this is not gonna happen. Then out of the deep blue, guess who calls? Ma Dukes. My mom calls me and says, I had a dream or a vision or something that told me to give you my last dime so that you can so that you can have the money. I don't know if you need it or not, and I kind of need the money, but something's been compelling me to give you this money. So I tell her what the predicament was, and she was like, well, there it is. Here's the money. Amazing. Thank you, Mom, for that, because it really changed everything. So I called up my boy Sal. I was like, yo, let's go to the computer store and get this laptop. So now, we're on the plane. You know what I'm saying? I'm sitting on the plane kind of leaning back, like thinking about how awesome it was that I was able to make this thing manifest, And so then over the loudspeaker we hear an announcement like we're stuck on this tarmac until the storm passes over. Like, well damn, okay. Look over at Saw and now he's talking to the guy sitting next to him. So I reach under the seat and pull out my laptop, open it up, pull out my new headphones, open up GarageBand, and I'm listening to the beat that I made the night before on my brand new laptop. Imagining creates reality.